Welcome to the May 18th, 2026 meeting of the West Shore Photography Club. Today we're going to be doing a show and tell. It is our last meeting of the season. So this
Oh,
is the last one until September. And before we get going, let's go through the business side of things. And let's start with Jean and talk about trips.
Okay, we have a couple coming up in June. June 6th, it's going to be an on your own meet up at Fort Indian Town Gap. They're having open house. I just did the write-up on it today, so that should be going out in the next couple days for you. And on that, there is a QR code, and if you click it, it will give you a description of everything that there is to see and do, and it sounds pretty cool. On June 21st, we are probably going to Revolution Bike Park, and that is the BMX racing. Mark, do you want to say a little bit about that since you went out?
Yeah, I went there a couple of weeks ago to check out the place. The people are really enthusiastic about having the club come and take pictures. They love the idea. The track is the one downside is the track's on the side of a hill, so it's a little bit there's a little bit of climbing and everything, but they do have restrooms. They do have a concession stand. The people are really enthusiastic. You're going to see people riding bikes anywhere from toddler to 65. It was just kind of neat to see. Seriously, it's that kind of range. They even have a special track down at the bottom to teach the toddlers and 5 and 6 year olds
Oh, that's
how to go over hoops. So
that's
so
neat.
it'll be fun.
Good, good.
where's that
Um,
located, Mark?
That's located in York,
Okay.
north of York. It's in a park. I can't remember the name of the park, but it's one of the big town. It's one of the big county parks in York County where they have a huge um, dog area, and they've got all sorts of fields for baseball and all that kind of stuff. And at the top of it, they've got this bike park, this BMX park. And apparently, these guys are part of the uh, an organization that does state and national level type races there. So it's kind of neat.
Is that John Rudy Park?
Yes, it is, Kurt. But don't use the directions to John Rudy Park to get there because you'll miss the entrance to the BMX track.
I
I did that myself.
was gonna say, it sounds like you found out the hard way. In Gettysburg, or in July, we're going to Gettysburg for old time baseball tournament. And I'm asking everybody to bring a kid. Bring a kid along, give them a camera. Let's get the younger generation interested in photography with a camera. Um, my two grandsons are coming along and they can't wait. So that's July 19th, and that's a Sunday. The tournament is actually the whole weekend. So if you can't make it Sunday, and you still want to go on Saturday. And then on July 25th, we're going to go to Meadowbrook Gorge, which is down Chambersburg way, not the whole way, but down that way. Wildflowers and picnic. Hopefully, we can do a picnic. They have sunflowers in the fall. It's not that big, huge farm. And the name escapes me. I've been there. But this one is where a lot of people go to make crafts out of gourds. I've made a bunny, I've made a Sani. They're pretty cool. So they have all kinds of events there. And we have a whole host of other trips planned to take us right through actually to December. So just keep an eye out for the emails. They'll be coming. And as always, if you have a question or a suggestion, just reach out and we'll take it under advisement.
Great. Thank you. Thank
Sure.
you. The next item up is we're having an exhibit at Calc in Carlisle. Um, we got 19 people registered to submit images for it. So there's a total of 36 images. We could do a maximum of two, but two people are going to submit one. I forget the time what date they're gonna take accept delivery on the pictures, but I think Mike Donovan has that information.
I do actually. Um, the dates that I have for delivery are from Saturday, May 30th until Wednesday, June 3rd, and it includes those two dates. So you can deliver starting Saturday, May 30th, and you have to have it in by Wednesday, June 30th, June 3rd at the end of the day. May 30th until June 3rd.
Okay.
Pickup is July 27 through August 1.
Through August
And there
1.
will be also a reception, and that will be on June 12 from 5:30 until 8.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, there's a couple other things that for people who have not yet gotten their stuff ready. It says that image size must not exceed 20 inches in any direction. And I'm guessing that it says image size. So I don't know if that's frame size or actual image size. But since there's only 36 of us, the literature says we need to ensure there's room for everyone. That's why they have that regulation. So if we have 36 images to hang, I don't think we'll have a problem. They must be framed and wired for hanging. Those little sawtooth hangers are okay on just the small stuff. So if you have a regular sized framed print, which they are to be framed appropriately, then use hangers. Use the cable and all that kind of thing. No exposed glass edges. You may also submit prints on canvas, wood, or metal, but make sure that they can hang because everything will be hung. Attach your name and the title on the back of your work. You can also put it for sale, so you can put a price with it. Calc will keep a 35% commission, which actually, the way things are going, that's not so bad. You know, there's galleries that take 50% now.
Oh, and there's no entry fee.
Correct.
Ah.
You just show up and hand it in. You can ship it if you want, but I don't think that'll be an issue with us. If it is UPS or the post office is preferred, no AI generated images. Let's see.
Is there a date? Can you give us the date for the reception?
Yes, June 12.
Okay, good. And
And
everyone's invited to the reception, family members, friends.
yep. And one other thing is that the work should be have now there's no way to know this, so it's the honor system, but hopefully it's work that's been created in the last 3 years and has not been shown at Calc before. Let's see. I think that's it unless somebody has a question. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
you're
Great.
welcome.
Dennis, you wanted to say a few words now that you've
Yep.
returned.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a minute to number one, for the people who didn't know, the reason I haven't been in meetings, of course, is because I've been on a 4-month cruise around the Pacific Ocean. So just got back early Sunday morning and came back with 27,000 pictures. Had a great experience, but that's not what this is about. I wanted to take a minute to thank the people who've kept the club running so thoroughly and so efficiently in my absence. And that includes, of course, our host for tonight, Mark. Thank you very much to Joe Farrell, who's done a lot of work, Elaine Shook, Gene Martin, of course, for doing the work with the trips that's continuing. Rick Freer keeps up with the website and the image upload. Mark Corchado keeps up with the website and membership information. Of course, Mike Donovan and his image reviews, and all the other directors who help keep the club running. We'll be having a directors meeting over the summer to prepare for activities for next year, which will start in September, of course. So if any member has any constructive feedback you want to supply to a director, or you can send it to me, Mark, Eve, Mike, any one of the directors, and we'll bring that up for consideration at the directors meeting, which has not yet been scheduled, not a date yet, but I'll do that pretty soon. So thank everyone for attending, and thanks specifically to those people for keeping things running. Mark, back to you.
Dennis, can I
Thank you
ask
very-
a quick question first?
Okay.
Yeah, who's on the board actually?
Oh boy, let's go through the list.
Is it fairly large?
Well, there's how many? 10, I think, right now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Me, Mark Albano, Eve, Gene, Mike Donovan, Elaine Shook, Joe Farrell,
Mary
Steve,
Fox.
Steve Boutte, Mary Fox. Who am I missing?
Rich Hudson, is he on?
Rich Hudson, our treasurer.
Okay.
That might be it. Can you think of anybody else? Yeah, I think that's the
don't
crew.
think so.
And I'll list that sometime in an email so everybody has that.
Well, we're certainly grateful to all, and I didn't know who was on the board, and the work has just been phenomenal. This is our last meeting for the year, and I guess I would just say, and others would express the same appreciation. It was a great year, and it's just so much work and effort really shows, and so I'm extremely pleased.
Well, thanks, David. We all appreciate that. It's because of the help of so many people and specifically the directors. But I can tell you that I'm very proud of what the club has been able to do, because there are many clubs who are not this active and not this successful, but we continue to have a strong membership, dues base. Financially, we're doing well. And as you know, we've been bringing in top-notch speakers throughout, and we'll continue. That will continue to be our mission.
Well, a quick shout out to you, Dennis, as the president, because you really keep things going. And again, I just would share the views of all the members. And we thank you for your dedication, your skill, knowledge, and all that you do for us.
Well, you're quite welcome. And on a philosophical note, I know if you read about photography clubs, a lot of times you'll read they have a bad rap because of the competitive nature of the club.
Mm.
And my background is as an educator
Mm.
prompts me to lead us in a direction more of cooperation and exploration rather than competitiveness. So I appreciate the director's willingness to go in that direction, and I think it's paid dividends and has been very successful. And want to thank everyone who pays dues and attends the meetings and talks positively about the club, and that keeps us healthy. So thank you very much to everyone. Mark, back to you.
Okay, thanks. Now let's see if I can share. Let me see what we got here. Here we go. That didn't, okay. Can everybody see my capture one?
Yep.
Okay.
No images, but
Not yet. Not yet.
software's up.
Yep. You're the first one, Mike.
Oh boy.
Make it good.
Okay. As you can see, this is kind of a dirty, old, beat up looking print. And there's a method behind that madness. This was taken with a Voigtlander Bessa, which was a camera made in the 1930s and 1940s. and it was also taken with 120 film, which expired in, I believe, 2015. So the idea was, let's see what happens. The subject is, of course, the Rockville Bridge, and the idea was for the image to look like it was done at the time that the Rockville Bridge was being built. That was my impetus. Now, there was some digital work done. Um, can Mark, can you see my cursor?
No, I can't see yours.
Okay.
What do you want me to point at?
No, I was just going to point at some of the little specks and
You mean
things that
like
I
up
tell
in here?
people not to have. Yeah, those are it. They're actually part of a texture that I put over this because I didn't want it to look too new. I also desaturated the colors, which I didn't have to do very much because with the 120 film, it was so old that it came out with funky colors. There in the water there was some magenta and so on. So I did have to do some digital work to make it look old, like there was no digital work done to it. So the idea was to photograph the Rockville Bridge with the old camera, and some of you saw that at Gerhardt. That's the camera that I used. It's one of the old flip down. It has a bellows, and I have no idea what's actually on the frame. Um, I was looking to see where in the world the ISO setting was on this camera, and then it dawned on me that there isn't one because the ISO is on the film. And then I just have to make the slider match it to what the film ISO was. So there was no changing of the ISO once you started because it's the film that dictated it. So so that's the idea. It's a pretty good size negative. It's 6 by 9 is what it's actually called. This camera can set for 6 by 6, which will be a square image, or the 6 by 9, which is kind of like two images on one negative, I guess you would say. So that's the idea here. There was some digital work done, but it originally started with expired color film, 120 film, which is larger, much larger, actually. The negative is way bigger than 35 millimeter, which is why it's amazingly sharp for how old all the stuff is, because the negative is so big that you can pretty much make it any size you want. Um, let's see. Oh, this was at Fort Hunter, which is a trip that we'll have coming up in the fall. So, if there's any questions, that's about it.
Mike, this reminds me of photos you saw back in the 30s where they took a black and white and then used they painted them
Oh,
with color
yes,
with
yes.
The
with
Marshalls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marshall Oils.
yeah.
Exactly right. That's true. That's very true.
Mike, where did you get it developed or did you do it yourself?
Um, I I have a thing that I keeps the temperature constant and all that. So that's a bit of a nightmare actually with color processing. So I let fine art deal with all that.
Oh,
And then what I did was I scanned it. I have a flatbed scanner that has a film adaptation, and you have to I have to scan it one negative at a time.
oh.
So it's actually a combination of the old and the new. Fine Art developed the 120 film, and then I scanned it and could work on it digitally.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Anything else? All right. Chris, you're up next.
Cool.
Okay, well,
I do not have an older image like Mike did there. Um, but this is actually one of my favorite photos because the day that I actually captured this image, I didn't even feel like picking up my camera. And I went
Oh,
outside into my backyard. It was obviously after some rain because the leaf itself is wet here. And I just started pointing my camera at everything, trees, leaves, bugs, grass, and the light just hit this particular leaf in a way that interests me a lot. And so I played around with shallow depth of field, and I can't exactly remember what I shot this at, but for me, honestly, it's not important what I shot it at because the final image, and this is mostly straight out of camera. I may have done a little bit of enhancing of the greens or working on it inside of some photo editing application. But every time that this photo pops up on my computer as a desktop background, I always just take a second to take it in because I enjoy the detail in the water, the shape of the leaf, the light, and everything else in the background that's in shadow. So, um, but then I also remember the day because, like I said, I didn't feel like doing anything really that day. But the way that you get better at photography, and I am by no means saying that this is the greatest piece of art ever to be created, um, but it is definitely a representation of you can't learn to create if you don't pick up the camera and push the button. And so that's why I wanted to share this because that's what I think about every single time that I look at this image. Not that
cool.
it's anything spectacular, but yeah, I'll stop there and pause for any questions.
It's nice when an image has a more than just that's beautiful. It has a connection or an emotion because that's what the things that recreate really are supposed to do. So whether you say it's the greatest one or not, it's successful because it stirs a feeling in you.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that, Mike.
Chris, I like the fact that you shared that it was a day you just didn't feel like picking up your camera because I think we all have those kind of days and you did it anyways. And it's something, um, uh, more than just a picture. There's so much more to it, as you described, and you got it right out of your backyard. So it's a great story to share with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to share.
Anybody else have any other comments? Thanks, Chris. Gene, you're up next. I can't get this picture any bigger. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Um, well, Mark and I were walking along at one of the trips, and I don't even know how this came up, but I was describing this to him, and he said, "Well, we're having a show and tell in May." He said, "I think you need to put that up for show and tell." So here it is. This was my first wedding that I shot. And actually, I did not shoot this picture. My husband did. I kind of threw the camera at him because I did not realize how far away she had to walk in order to say I do. And that's why I named this I Will, because it took a while for her to get to the altar. So I was down at the altar waiting for her. And I threw the camera at Dean. I'm like, I'm giving you one job, and you need to get her coming down these steps. And he did, and it was blurry. And I put it in Lightroom because that's what I work in, Lightroom, and I just played around with it until I got it to what I felt looked like a Monet type painting. I love Monet, and when I saw all the greens and the yellows in it, it kind of reminded me of that. So I just said, you know what, we're going to blur it even more. And that's what I did. And it ended up being the bride's favorite of herself in that type of moment. And she made it her cover of her photo album, which I I will put up on Facebook one of the really good pictures that I did take, but I still think about this picture every now and then. I still love it, and like Chris, there's a story behind it, and that's the story even more so of just it being a wedding picture for somebody's wedding album. There was a story, and thankfully she loved it. So there it is, my Monet bride.
Gene, you know what one of the definitions of a good picture is, right? Somebody bought it.
Exactly. Exactly. Although, it was my first wedding, so she didn't pay that much. But I will post one of the really good ones.
Are you sure, absolutely sure, you did not take this with a 1930s Bessa Voigtlander,
My
an
husband
expired film?
My husband, I believe at the time, I think I had a Rebel and my D60, and I think I threw the Rebel at him, and I was using back button focus, and of course he's trying to do the regular shutter button. So yeah, poor guy. He was like, but oh well, it was fine, and she loved it, so that's all that matters.
Hey, Gene, I find it funny that when you explained it to me, you talked about how you had to fix the second shooter's picture, and now it's fixing your husband's picture.
Yeah. Well, he was my second shooter. He got to eat that day, so he got paid.
That's true. That's true. He got paid. Okay. Anything else? Any other comments? All
And to
right.
share a comment, I heard a story very similar to what you just shared, Janine, in regards to a blurry photo of the first dance, and the bride just completely loved it. So
Hmm.
there's something to this. And one of my jokes to another person who was, I guess, in the wedding photography, I was like, why don't you just make all your photos blurry and then call it art and then sell it for $1,000 a pop?
There you go. I like the way you think.
Yeah, some people call it intentional camera movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great, guys. Eve, you're next.
This image is actually from one of our trips to the American Auto Museum down in Hershey. And I've been there multiple times. I seem to be drawn to this car every time I go down there. So, with this image itself, I actually have this titled as Classic Curves. This is one I'm putting in calc, as a matter of fact. I just love the movement of just this back corner of this vehicle. It I did some cloning on it. On the door itself, there was a reflection of the picture framed and hanging on the wall. It was in that. I do have that. I saved that. I've cropped this numerous different ways, but there's something that speaks to me about the lines, the curves, that I thought the way I have it cropped down, it spoke to me so much more than the entire car itself. Behind there, the gray there, that's curtains. So I don't know. I really like the lines, the reflections on it. Um, Kind of captured the personality of the car more than the entire image itself. You know what? I'm not sure if this one, I just saw that question. I'm not sure if this one's a Tucker or not. It was in the same area as the Tucker autos, so it may be. I'd have to go back.
It is a Tucker.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I have to go back because I captured this so many different ways. Um, And I didn't want to assume I was correct on that. So there you go. Good. Thanks for answering that one for me.
Yeah. These are some of the Tuckers are some of the coolest cars, both engineering wise and design wise. They're one of my favorites to look at. This is a really nice shot.
Thanks. When we go to a couple different places. I still enjoy this. Just like Gerhardt, I can go and get something different every time, even if I'm photographing the same object, I guess I'll call them. I always look for something a little different. So I really liked this one. I had a little bit more of the vehicle into it on this image itself and cropped it down to where I wanted it. So
okay. Anybody else have any comments on this one? Besides me gushing over it. Thank you. George, you're up next. George Ryan.
I think he's muted.
$5.
There
Am
he
I
is.
muted now?
You're good.
Okay, this is a bit weird. Do you want to show the other one?
Sure. I'm going to try to anyways. Hold on a sec.
Okay. Now, this is not mine. This is a famous picture by Vincent van Gogh, which he took of a church. You've just seen the church in a place called Auvers-sur-Oise. My wife and I did a river cruise from the Channel Coast down to Paris a couple of weeks ago. And we had an excursion to this town where Van Gogh lived the last few years of his life. In fact, this was done about 2 months before he committed suicide. So it's one of his very last works, although he did occasionally one a day. I mean, it's very prolific. Anyway, on this cruise, we had an excursion to Auvers-sur-Oise and something called a Van Gogh walk. So we walked through where he lived, up the hills and so forth, and came upon this church. And that is the next one. Which, yeah. Okay, now that is the church that is what Van Gogh used as a subject. Now, this looks very, very different, of course, because he was an artist and he was taking all sorts of liberties. Actually, in a sense, I did too, because when I took this, the first version I sent to Mark was just so plain and so awkward. It looked like your typical snapshot, and it was. And it was a snapshot that I took as one often takes snapshots for the memory. I mean, there's loads of reasons to do photography, but one is to document where you've been and what you have seen and the people that you've seen it with, and you show it to them again. It'll evoke all sorts of memories of the trip. So I make no claims to great art here. I think it's not a bad picture. I could, if I wanted to, have replaced that sky with a bright, vibrant blue sky like Van Gogh did. I don't know how, I guess I could have used some Photoshop motion stuff to make the whole thing squiggly like he did. But I decided just to stop here. I put in a different sky. I opened up the blacks and I increased the saturation substantially. This was a very gray day, almost colorless. But since it was there and since we were there, I thought I should take a picture of this and also to get a picture. That's not the one I took. The one Mark showed first was from the Wikipedia Commons. because that was better than any of the poster pictures I could have gotten or did get in Overa. Anyway, I just thought that I would show this as something to remember that was important to us on this trip. Now, if
I
anyone,
like I like the inspiration you have with Van Gogh. I mean, that's kind of I can see where it relates to it, other than
well,
just being there.
it's the same church,
Yeah.
but he took his from a much higher perspective, which does not exist there. I
Like you
mean,
said,
this is the highest place there, but
yeah.
he took his artist license and he did take it as if he were standing about 30 feet high. Anyway,
So,
it's go ahead.
so chances are you stood possibly on the same bricks that he did.
Very possible. Very possible. And of course, it's changed. There's a lot more grass in his picture. And those bricks, I don't think are in his picture. I think he has kind of a dirt path. And he has a woman walking along, which was a very frequent motif in his paintings, a woman with her back to you, because he was rejected 5 different times on his offers of marriage.
But it's very cool to think of you standing where maybe he stood. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, that's why I took the picture there. I mean, it's yeah. How often do you get to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments, questions? All right. Curtis, you are next.
Thank you. Thank you. This shot here, I took at Gerhardt's, our recent trip over to Gerhardt Machinery in Lidditz. I had some ideas of what I wanted to do when I went to Gerhardt's, and I wanted to get some interior shots. And I actually wanted to get a shot that would go a shot through the back window into the interior is what I was hoping for, but there was no way when I got there. I didn't see anything that would work. So I did the open door shot, and that's what this is. And I also recently had acquired some software, Hilcon Focus, that I wanted to play with. So I said, I'm going to focus stack this. So I did that. I went in and I set a camera up, and you can, in camera, I can set up the number of shots, the focus increments, how much you want them to overlap or not overlap, those type of thing. And in this shot here, I had taken 9 frames to be focus stacked, and I used only 4 of them. Only needed to use 4 of them, and all of them were at the same exposure. As you can see in the bottom there, they were all taken at like f8. And I brought that into Lightroom, and then used Helicon Focus as the way to merge them. And that is the results. Anybody have any comments or questions?
Yeah, what made you want to take pictures of the interior to focus on that?
Well, it seems like, and I've been to Gerhardt Machinery so many times, and it just seems like I'm getting in a rut over there of taking the outside of a Mack truck or a crane. And I said, I gotta change this up. So that's what I did. I dreamed about it all night and woke up ready and rolling. And that's where I said interior shots. So I took this, and there was also another one I took, which was the seat, a bench seat, in this same truck, I think. But yep.
What does it look like in color?
Not good. That's why I changed it to black and white.
I like it in black and white, but I just was
Yeah, the color was just too busy. And I did bring the dial, the bezel, or whatever to call that ring around the speedometer. I did lighten that up to try and draw your attention to the dash more. and then I calmed everything down, such as the turn blinker there on the column, and all those parts on the column were just way too bright. And of course, then a lot of other masking, getting rid of things that I didn't want to look at.
Okay.
Hey, I have a question for Kurt, and this is Jack. Uh, Kurt, when you do the focus stacking, uh, what are the areas that you're choosing, if you don't mind telling me, since thinned it down to four? But is it, far to the right, lower left, center? I mean, probably a simple question, but I'm a little blurry on this. So if you could help me.
Sure. Well, the initial start, I guess, to the focus stack would be the closest thing to the camera. And in this case, it was the steering wheel there, left of center there. That was the closest image to take. And when you pop that into the camera automatically takes an image slightly towards the camera on the first frame. Then the second frame is the one that I deliberately chose, which was the steering wheel there. And then it goes through its progression. And then after I reviewed them, the depth of field to get this, I used image 2, not number 1. So I used 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 6, 7, 8, they started to walk on beyond the crop that I did. The uncropped photo shows actually the right side passenger door, which was in focus at that point, which I didn't need. So I just took those that I needed and then sent them over to Helicon Focus and let it do its magic for me.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. No, I like it very much. And thank you for that, defining that for me, because I can see where that would be beneficial, the focus stacking in this type of image. So thank you.
You're quite welcome.
So Kurt, the focus stacking will jump around in the image.
No, it progresses.
Is it progress in a straight line, or does it progress like first the steering wheel and then the next closest thing and then the next, no matter where it is in the image, or is it a straight shot?
It is a straight progression of increments. Okay, it's in my camera, I have a setting there from 1 to 10 that I can choose. Number 4 is the default for the camera. And number 4 means that we're not overlapping that straight progression, okay? I could go with, say, a setting of number 2, and that would then overlap those. Each time it took it, it still has partial sharpness in the previous frames, so to speak, okay? If you were to pick something way out there at number 10, then it would probably jump too far and I would not get the result I was looking for. But a landscape shot, that might be what you want, because infinity is, I guess what I want to say is things have more depth of field the further out from the camera or lens you are. So a lot of landscape depth of field, you only need to maybe take 1, 2, or 3 frames to go from maybe 20 feet to infinity. But as you get really close to your subject, then your depth of field then also decreases. So that's where I originally chose. I'll go with the default setting of the increments, and then I will do 9 shots just to make sure I get everything I want. And I did.
Okay, so it's nothing to do with where things are in the image. It's all about the distance between each shot.
That's correct.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, on a different track, it seems to me that the repetition of the circles almost everywhere really holds the picture together and creates a very interesting composition.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I purposely covered that one gauge with the steering wheel there. After I took a few shots, the only thing that bothered me with this one here was down there at the key switch. and the turn blinker handle, that was a little too tight. But then I lost my dissection of that one gauge with the steering wheel, and so this is what I ended with. I was happy with this.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Thanks, Curtis.
You bet. Thank you.
Dave Marquetto.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Thanks for doing this. This
Yeah.
is an Angelique tulip, and it's from Longwood Gardens. I think this is a story about the camera I didn't take. It's really super crowded there all the time. I'm not a flower photographer, so I knew my time would be limited no matter what flower I was going to literally focus on. There's just a lot of people. You can enjoy the flowers and the scenery, but you just really, or I just really feel like I'm holding up people if I'm taking the time that I would need and get down and so on and so forth. So this is with an iPhone, which is the camera that's always with me. And I don't know if anybody has not been to Longwood Gardens yet, but it's just a super park. It's a national treasure. Actually, it was a residence at one time. And they've just had this huge expansion this last year. So it was huge before. Now it's just enormous. And this place is, I went about a month ago. It was just a wash in tulips. And this was in the tulip section. And I'm not a flower photographer, so I had to look up this one in terms of what it was. But each flower to me was absolutely breathtaking. So this was an iPhone photo, and it's really notable to me because I did not take this into Lightroom or anywhere else other than use the iPhone software. It's probably the first image I ever did without taking it into Lightroom. So I used the sliders and all the different settings in the iPhone capture mode. I took a course with Dennis on using the iPhone, getting the most out of it. And that was just incredibly helpful to me. So I played around with this, and you can too if you haven't used the iPhone software. It's extremely easy to play with each setting: contrast, black point. There's like 10 or so settings, from exposure to vibrance to saturation to sharpness, all the rest of it. And it's just so amazing. Almost every turn of the slider gives you a different photo. And they even have filters. Again, so many of you are probably familiar with this. I just wasn't. You can just scroll through all the filters, from mono to silver tone to vintage to dramatic warm and so on and so forth. It's probably about 10 of those settings. It just takes seconds to completely change the image. So this really looked good to me in mono, in black and white. But the colors, to my eye, were just breathtaking. And I definitely wanted to settle on a color photo. I also used the absolute square crop ratio. That's not usually what I do. I almost always freeform crop. In fact, 99% of the time I freeform crop. But this one was the square crop. So I absolutely had to use that for this. And I try to get the center of that flower in the white section there, the petals, in dead center. So with the iPhone software, you could put a grid over the photo. I think it's 3 by 3, and so you can line it up however you want. And I was just really pleased because I didn't want to take my camera and all the gear that I thought would give me the absolute best images, because of the hassle and the awkwardness of taking people's time and getting in the way and all the rest of it. So this was a very quick iPhone shot, and I have many others of many other different tulips. I would be interested in anybody to tell me what this might be improved as. I'll use the word improved because the highlights to me are too bright, and I wasn't sure how to do that, how to adjust that in just the highlights in the iPhone software. So if I took this in the Lightroom, I would have played with the highlights. And then I could have darkened them, but I'm not sure even that's the answer with a flower image. I just didn't want brown or dark black petals. So that's the long and the short of it. It's just amazing to go to Longwood Gardens as a non-flower photographer. You can get lost there for literally days. And there's I call it a conservatory. It's like a glass pavilion and so on. So even in the inclement winter days and everything, there are flowers in the heated enclosure. It's massive, and there's always something to photograph at Longwood Gardens, and that's about the long and the short of it.
Great.
Fine stuff.
Thank you. Anybody have an answer for his question of how to improve it? And
I have a question for his question.
yeah,
Can you describe the ambient lighting conditions, David?
Yes, I can, Dennis. It was harsh sunlight, and it was super hot, and there was no way to modify the light, with any, getting in the way, or certainly with some sort of a card or anything like that. So yeah, those shadows are pretty harsh, I think, because of the harsh light. Would it have been perhaps, I use the word better loosely, if it were an overcast day?
Yes, you would avoid those the highlights. Yeah,
Mm,
you kind of answered my thought there. I was thinking if you could arrange your body so that the shadow of your body is close
yeah, yeah,
to the power, that would help equalize the highlight
right,
and
right.
the shadows and eliminate the hot spots. Or have somebody with an umbrella. Were you shooting in RAW format?
Dennis, I was not. And I didn't really get serious with the iPhone because I know there's the raw setting, and I do have it. I didn't toggle it on because I was taking so many photographs. And Dennis, this is only 1.5 megabytes. So there's just not a lot of, I
Yeah,
guess, what, pixels
shooting
or,
RAW would give you a little more flexibility in processing.
oh, yeah,
It would
yeah.
still be difficult to deal with those bright highlights.
Right, right, right.
One thing that I do when I go to Longwood Gardens
Yeah.
and I'm shooting outside, I take a handheld diffuser with me.
Oh, you do.
And
Yeah.
they fold down to like 5 or 6 inches in size. And then you pop them open and you got yourself a nice diffuser, and you can just hold that up. It'll work wonders on those highlights.
Curtis, how big is the one that you use when it's open?
It's not big. It might be about 15 inches, 16 inches.
Okay, it's about the size of one I have.
But it's definitely worth taking if you're going to be outdoors. Inside the conservatory there, uh, you can find harsh light really doesn't be of any problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I hadn't thought of the portability of it. Usually I'm thinking these monster ones that are in portrait studios and stuff. But yeah, I appreciate that thought.
Yeah, Curtis, yours fits up into a little pocket, right?
Yeah, they're small. I think mine was from that ProMaster. Does that sound right? At the camera shop, uh, they have them.
Yeah.
I got one just because I was going to be there during the harsh light, and yeah, they work out quite well.
Great, great.
Dave,
Any other?
Yeah, Dave, something else to think about. Since you have this image already done, I don't know what you do software wise, but something to think about is the software I use has photo filters, and if you have a like a really light pink one, you can lay it on top as a layer, invert it, or a mask, invert it, and then you can paint pink onto the white parts.
Oh, wow.
Just a very faint
Yeah.
pink, which might take some of the edge off for you.
Oh, that's super.
And
Yeah.
you have detail in the white spots too, which means you can, like you said, you might be able to pull down the highlights a little bit.
You know, maybe you can answer this too. Someone can answer this. On the iPhone software, there is a highlight slider, but as far as I know, it's not selective. So, it just reduces the highlights on the entire image. And that's what I tried to do here. I got it as light pink as I wanted it. Maybe if it were in black and white, I could do a little bit more. But yeah, I couldn't selectively, like in Lightroom, I might do a mask or something, over the hot spots, and then try to deal with that. But Mike, I appreciate the thought about that filter. So why, you have to explain if you don't mind, but why pink filter?
But the only thing I was thinking is that would not stand out as being a filter.
But
Because
I
of-
thought pink would block out the pink. No.
well, it looks no, I mean only on the white. So
Oh, okay.
you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you
But I
put
thought a pink filter filtered out all pink light, so to speak. So
well that
no.
when I say my software has what's called a photo filter.
Oh,
Really,
okay.
what it is just a wash of color.
I got you. I got you.
And then what you can do is invert it, which will
Yeah, yeah.
disappear, and then paint in where you want.
Oh, yeah. I get it. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And the only reason I said pink is because then it wouldn't be anything opposite of what you
Right,
already
right,
have.
right. Mike, do you have any idea, or does anybody have an idea if that feature is available in Lightroom?
I have no idea. I'd
Mm.
use on one, and I know it's there, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'd have to go to Photoshop for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You can always get a preset for Lightroom. I have a pink filter in Lightroom that's a preset, and then
Okay.
you use your masking. Um, I'll have to see if it was a free one or it might have even came with Lightroom.
Okay.
So, look through there and I'll see if I can find it and I'll let you know.
Yeah, super. I appreciate that, G.
Okay,
I would
anybody?
love Dave, but I have 38,000 presets, so it would take a while.
You're not going to charge me for them, are you? You probably pay good money for those.
Well, maybe not quite that many, but that's mostly for Mark's enjoyment.
I can just imagine trying to find just the one you want in 38,000.
And they all have funky names. You don't know what they are.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Anything else here? Dave, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Peggy. I don't think she's here.
She was.
She was?
Yeah.
She's muted though. She's
Oh,
here.
Peggy, you need to unmute yourself.
Oh, there she is. Unmute Peggy. There you go.
I'm sorry, I was having problems unmuting me. This image, I kind of was just looking for something to take a picture of, to take a photo of. I hadn't had the camera out in a while. And I've been kind of looking around the yard and seeing all the dandelions around. And I thought some of them look pretty, and then I'd go back and the wind had got them, or the rain had got them, or and the animals mowed them over or whatever. So I finally went out the other night, and it was like 7:45. It was late. It was getting later in the evening. And there was one out here kind of caught my eye right outside the back door. And I tried to shoot it and it wasn't coming out so swell. So I have a LED light that I use when I take the dog out at night. And I laid it down on the ground and shot it up underneath the dandelion. And when I brought it in and looked at it, then it kind of got those little starburst things at the end of each petal. And I found them to be kind of interesting. I typically, when I process them in Lightroom, my photos, I tend to bring the exposure down from what I take it in the camera. And sitting here tonight, just listening, and I thought, oh, let me check this out. I brought the exposure down on that picture, I feel now, too much. I should have brought it down only about half as much as what I did. Makes the picture look a little better to me when I'm comparing it on my screen. But I just thought it was neat and it was something quick. I didn't put a lot of thought in. I did use my macro lens to take the shot, and I was starting to take the pictures handheld that night, and I actually ran back inside and grabbed the tripod and took that out. I always have a problem, it seems to me, getting things to focus properly. And I'm not sure what I'm doing, what I feel I'm doing wrong to get them to come out sharper than what they are. If that makes sense. So this was just kind of a quick try it late at night.
It's kind of neat. Thanks, Peggy. Any comments?
I like that you, well, I'll call it underlit, brought your flashlight out and lit it from the bottom. That's just sort of usually we don't see anything out in the grass like that would be lit from the bottom. It just gives it a different look.
Yeah, I got lucky. It was on a little bit of a hill, so I could lay the flashlight down and shine it up on it.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Neat.
I had to laugh at your comment that you didn't put much effort into it or much thought, but on the contrary, you had a macro lens, you used the tripod, and you lit this thing artificially at night. I think that's very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Did you use automatic focus?
I tried it and it didn't seem like it was working. This I did do manual focus on, I believe. Tried to focus it in, but it was so dark it wasn't.
Yeah.
The autofocus didn't seem to be working.
If you used manual focus, even with a flashlight, and you picked a point, probably the dead center, at least one little, bloom or blossom there, at least that with manual focus, that would be sharp, razor sharp. Then it's just a question of depth of field, how deep you want your focus to be. But if you focus on one point anywhere, that should be razor sharp with manual focus. If you use automatic, you get what the cameras, would just suggest.
The highlights up on top look pretty sharp.
Yeah, they do.
They look good. And it's kind of funny that the curse and the blessing of photography is that no, and I put this in quotation marks, no sane person would be out laying in the grass at night shining a flashlight on a dandelion. That's one of the curses of photography, but it's also one of the blessings in that you get to see things that people walk past and don't ever notice. So even if it's a struggle for the focus, or you're not sure this or you're not sure that, you're already reaping the benefits of your photography work in that you get to see things that a vast majority of people never do.
And the advantage of shooting at night is you get that nice stark black background.
Yeah.
I think it's a great image, and the softness of it in particular against the black background works for me. Yeah, it's very nice.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Thanks, Peggy. And finally, me, this old rascal. As a lot of you know, I lived in before I moved here, I lived in Arizona and I lived in a rural area, and I was used to seeing all sorts of animals. We had javelinas on our back porch and coyotes and rattlesnakes and bobcats and all that kind of stuff. And when we moved here, we moved into a development, got interested in photography, didn't weren't out in the Wild West anymore. And I was like, I really would like to take a picture of a red fox. And for years I was looking for 'em. The closest I came was I was on the west shore of Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay, up down near Blackwater, and I saw one out in the middle of a field running in the wrong direction, running away from me. So I never got the picture. One day, Sue and I are driving home, and we're coming on the back side of our um, development, and I holler at my wife to stop the car immediately. And she's like, "What? What?" And just off the road in a field was this kit. And it's like there's a fox over there, type of thing. I was like, there's a fox, damn it. And we watched it for a little while. Then we said, okay. And we went back to the house. I grabbed my camera, drove back, put the car between me and the fox, and took this picture. Um, and this was one of three kits that I saw there. It's a large field, and this happened to be a rocky outcropping that the mother had decided to build her den there, and it was probably 30 feet from the highway. And I doubt if very many people even saw this animal there, because I've got a picture of the three of them all sitting there staring at me, and I've got another picture of one of them um, sitting looking up in the air as a buzzard flew overhead. So and so they were they weren't really afraid of me. They weren't that nervous. I kept my distance, and I also didn't let anybody else know about it because if word gets around that there's a fox den near a roadway, the foxes um, can be abused by photographers in a lot of situations, and they get nervous, and the mother's got to go find a new den and move all the pups and all the kits, and that just leads to even more problems. So that's about it. That was my story.
Mark, you
Yeah,
say 30 feet away?
they were 30 feet from the road. I was probably 60 feet away with a car between me and them.
What lens did you use? That's why I was asking.
This one, I had my Sony gear at the time, so I had a 100 to 400 with a 1.4 adapter on it. So it was about 560 millimeters.
Well, you got his eyes in perfect focus, it looks like.
Yeah, they came out really well. That was a very sharp lens. So
Yeah, but you got very good focus on it.
oh, I thank the camera for that. I managed to get the focus point right on him, so it worked out well. And because there is, like you said, there's grass in the front that's a little bit out of focus, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very shallow
Well,
depth of field.
like you, I've been waiting for years to be able to take a picture of a fox, and I haven't managed yet.
Like I said,
I'm insanely jealous.
yeah, we got very lucky, and they were there. I probably They were probably there for the next 2 weeks, I think, before they got old enough that they moved on. And the people who own the field, I talked to the woman. She didn't even know the foxes were there because I saw her a few weeks later they were out harvesting. And she didn't even know that she didn't even know they were there.
Wow.
So they did
Did
a
you
good
get
job of hiding.
pictures at other times, or is this the one and only?
I'm sorry.
Did you get pictures at other times of this fox, or is this a one and only shot?
I got pictures at other times.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I mean, I went back a couple of times. As I drove past, if I saw them, I would run home, grab my camera, and run back. And like I said, this was right around the corner from my house, which is what really surprised me because it's all developments and this one big field in the middle. But just goes to show how foxes adapt too.
Yeah. Does your autofocus system focus on like animals automatically, or do you have to spot focus?
The Sony did. It wasn't the greatest, but it could do some animal focusing, and I think that's what I was using here.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I do kind of a zone focus, so I kind of had to move the zone over to the animal to get him to focus.
okay. Yeah, on the trip, was experimenting with Canon's autofocus system to automatically recognize. You have to pick the category:
Ah,
automobile, animal, people, but then
mm-hmm,
the whole frame is active and it picks out the supposed subject.
mm. How did that work for you?
Well, it depends. Mixed results. If I were doing birds in the air, and Curtis might want to react to his experience with his Canon, but birds in the air, if it was in the clear sky, no problem. It would follow it all around full frame. But as soon
Mm,
as the bird flew below the horizon, and the camera got confused with the background. Yeah. Kurt, do you want to
yeah.
comment on use of autofocus with your camera?
Animal eye with birds
Yeah.
and you have a cluttered background. Um, the bird has to be pretty big in the frame.
Okay.
If it's way off in the distance, it's probably going to find the background and not the bird. But
Yeah.
if it's taken up, maybe 25% or less, or greater rather, it'll pick it right up. It'll go right to their eye every time.
Yeah. Do you suspect that Canon and the other manufacturers are soon going to get away from having to pick the category and like you have to pick an animal or a person or an automobile and just do a general, some ability to focus automatically?
That I don't know. I don't know because I mean, with automobiles, race car shooters, they identify a helmet on a guy,
Yeah.
so it's looking for um, some contrast like that, and it'll pick it up. So no, I think they're probably going to. You're probably going to have to spell it out the way you want to take a photo of. They may get to the point where it's AI and you talk to your camera
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and say,
that's a
"Hey,
good
I
point.
want that guy in that car." But
Well,
yeah,
and of course, some cameras have the eye focus too. So it focuses where you look. So you could use that feature.
yeah,
Mm,
I have that on mine. It's not fast enough for birds in flight.
Oh,
It
okay.
it would be good for a wedding photographer,
No.
unless the bride is nervous and runs.
All right.
I did find that diffuser here, and it measures when folded up 4.5 inches in diameter.
wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is everything. I'm going to stop sharing, and we're back. Um,
There's the diffuser,
cool.
Yeah.
and then it folds up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
I
work.
mean,
Yeah.
I kind of want to. I've got a 2 cents to put in here. Is Dennis was thanking all of us for helping him, and Dave and you guys were thanking the board for all the work that they did. But um, it's the club. It's the members of the club that really make a difference. I mean, I'm not used to leading these things, and you guys have made it easy for me. Um, we've had um, we've had situations where um, contributions of images for reviews and that have been kind of light, and a couple of email messages with the word help in them.
In all
has
caps.
excuse me?
In all caps.
In all caps, that's right. Has you guys have really responded and made it worthwhile. I guess that's about all I have to say.
Yeah, we want it to be fun for everybody. And the more
Yeah.
members who contribute in one way or another, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Mark,
Absolutely.
thanks for all that you have done for this, for this and the other things that you have moderated.
Oh,
You
I
do
do
a
the
good
easy.
job.
I do the easy ones.
Yeah, we give the tough ones to Donovan.
That's right.
He's got to critique.
I hear you.
Okay, then. Again, we'll see you in September. Keep watching for trip announcements because we've got quite a few planned, and I think they're going to be a lot of fun and interesting.
Very good. Yeah,
Till
have a great
then,
summer.
have a great summer, and I'm going to stop the
Bye.
recording.
Okay, thank you.
Bye now.